My name is Keith Freeze, and because today is Sunday, let's have some fun day. Okay, so I took this dice and I rolled it, and certain numbers had a corresponding result. So if I rolled a 1, that applied for the foreign blue and gold era. If I rolled a 2, that was for the Gretzky era. If I rolled a 3, that was for the black, silver, and purple era. And if I rolled a 4, it was for the Stanley Cup second iteration of black, silver, and white era. So I took those, you know, results, and then I took them a step further by limiting myself to not picking every superstar that I could think of. And so for my F1 and D1, they had to have played 750 games with the LA Kings or more. For my F2, D2, and goaltender one, they had to have played 350 to 500 games with the LA Kings. And for the F3, D3, and goaltender 2, they had to play 200 to 300 games played with the LA Kings. And finally, for the fourth forward line, it had to have been 199 games or less played for the LA Kings. So, with all of that said, again, I tried to really limit myself because I didn't want to put together a roster or a lineup that was just crazy. Picking every superstar that you could think of, but I actually wanted to have some balance throughout the lineup. And thankfully for the dice and for the amount of games played for the LA Kings, I did get some lucky bounces, especially in sort of the bottom six, third defensive pairing range, and we'll see that right now. But as you can see, this is how it turned out. And my top line is Dustin Brown with Anze Kopitar and Marcel Dion. Very, very nicely turned out. Very nice how that turned out for me. I rolled 2 4s and 1 1. So again, I've got Brown, Kopitar, and Dion as my top line. Definitely staples of the franchise, and it's nice to see that it turned out the way that it did. My second forward line, I've got Simmer with Vanoshki and Williams. I rolled 2 1s and 1 3. Technically, Justin Williams did play in the black, silver, and purple era, so it was nice to kind of get that, piece there. With him and Charlie Simmer, I actually do think this second forward line is really it's got some heat. I'm actually pretty happy with this line. Third forward line, I rolled 3 2s. So we're sticking with the Gretzky era. I've got Tonelli with Perreault and Sandstrom. Tomas Sandstrom is definitely the leader of that group in terms of the standout guy. But I just like the second forward line. I actually think Tonelli and Sandstrom, both wing positions, could be very solid. Not to take anything away from Vanoshki or Perreault either, but I'm just kind of looking at my immediate, who stands out kind of guys. And I think for the second and third forward lines, the wingers can definitely have some, have some good point value or some kind of staying power with the team. And then finally, this is where we get to like the very luck of the dice. But I've got Arvidsson with Kruzhelnitsky and Kristich, and pretty happy to have gotten some guys there. I rolled 1 4 and 2 2s. Kruzhelnitsky and Arvidsson I think could be really, really good together. So that rolled pretty nicely in my favor. We'll go down to the defense now. I've got Rob Blake with Drew Doughty. Again, they had to have played 750 games with the LA Kings or more. Both of these guys are right shot defensemen, so I guess you could line them up on either end of the ice. But I'm putting Blake at left defense simply because you'll see with the second defensive pairing, I've got Marty McSorley at right defense, so I want to have some balance of physicality throughout the lineup on each side of the ice. But speaking of that second D pairing, I've got Duchesne with McSorley. I rolled 2 2s. Again, the dice were very much in favor of the Gretzky era, and it kind of definitely paid off in the end for me. I think that this top 4 defense is solid, and then I get down to the third defensive pairing, and adding in Larry Murphy just makes this defense a total home run. I mean, this is, when they say about building from the back forward, this is the way that you do it. Having Blake, Doughty, Duchesne, McSorley, and Murphy is like crazy. And then I've got Boucher Now, I will say that I rolled a 3 for that. And when I went through the list that I went through of games played, there actually wasn't a Kings player during that black, silver, and purple era that lasted with the Kings for 200 to 300 games played. So I kind of had to stretch this one a little bit. And Boucher played, I think, 312 games with the LA Kings. So it's close enough. And at the same time, to kind of match the initial energy of this concept, which was to try to have balance throughout the lineup, not take superstars all the time. I thought adding Boucher was an appropriate decision to make. Not to take anything away from Boucher, but I'm definitely going to lean on the other 5 defensemen as my heavy hitters in this lineup that I've got. And finally, we'll get down to the goaltenders, but my starting goaltender, again, had to have played 350 to 500 games with the LA Kings, and I've got Rogie Vachon. Very happy to take the second best goaltender in LA Kings history. Again, if we're building from the back out, I've got Vachon, Blake, Doughty, Duchesne, McSorley, and Larry Murphy. Have fun with that. Any any NHL team, I think I'm doing just fine. And my backup goaltender is Jamie Storr, a personal favorite of mine. I did meet Jamie very briefly at Toyota Sports Performance Center and just told him, I used to go to games in the IHL when I was a kid, and I just remember seeing him there, and it was just, it's one of those things that you don't forget, and I just kind of very briefly introduced myself, and he seemed like a really, really cool guy. Very, very nice, very approachable, so shout out to Jamie. But anyway, I just wanted to say, again, this is the lineup that the dice decided, not necessarily just me, but I am very happy with this roster that I got. So could I take this into an NHL game and feel like I could win? Oh, yeah, big time. Anyway, thank you for checking out this video. My name is Keith Freeze. Everybody, have a great rest of your weekend, and go Kings, go.